In this video, breaking news. This is huge news. Donald Trump is going after Bitcoin. This news is breaking currently as a book from a guy called John Bolton. He's exposing President Donald Trump for things that he has done in the past. And according to the author of this book, Exposing Trump, he says that Trump said, "Go after Bitcoin." Allegedly, Trump said this back here in May 2018, slightly after the big Bitcoin bubble. I will go through this article and bring you this breaking news. And another big news story is that the sender of the $5 million transaction fee has been revealed. Remember, someone sent 2 small transactions of Ethereum but paid millions in fees? Well, we now have the answer who that was. And of course, I'm going to make some technical analysis on the Bitcoin price. I want to show you this RSI channel and what this means for the Bitcoin price in the immediate short term. You don't want to miss this analysis. And if you think that that sounds interesting, then I think that you should definitely watch this video. Hello guys and welcome to the moon. My name is Carl and I'm here to bring you this Bitcoin video. And I am going to take a look at the Bitcoin price and do some technical analysis. But first, I need to take a look at the most important news for today. This is breaking right now. Huge news, and Donald Trump is involved. So this news is based from the fact that a new book from this guy, John Bolton, which is completely going viral. John Bolton is a former national security advisor. This John Bolton is exposing Trump for different things that he has said and that he has done. And so this book is currently spreading like wildfire online. And in the crypto space, it is currently going completely viral because there is a quote where John Bolton says that President Trump has been wanted to go after Bitcoin as early as 2018. So let's take a look at this. So Trump, you might remember that Trump not long ago made a tweet about Bitcoin. Here you can see, this was actually July 12th, 2019. I made a video about this because this was huge news in crypto, of course. He said back then, "I am not a fan of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies which are not money and whose value is highly volatile and based on thin air. Unregulated crypto assets can facilitate unlawful behavior, including drug trade and other illegal activity." And he goes on and on talking about Bitcoin here. So we already know for a fact that he is not a fan of Bitcoin because he made that publicly available on Twitter just like 1 year ago approximately. Actually, I made a tweet back to him here. I said, "I am not a fan of the US dollar and other fiat currencies whose value are devalued time and time again by governments and even by private banks through credit expansion. The US dollar has lost 98% of its value since 2013. Bitcoin can't be printed." In July, he made this tweet. And he made this to his millions and millions of followers to Twitter. And a yet-to-be-published book by former National Security Advisor John Bolton, entitled "The Room Where It Happened," claims that this was not the first encounter that the president had with Bitcoin. This book, whose launch has since been delayed due to the pressure from the United States Department of Justice, includes an alleged quote from President Trump about Bitcoin. Quote, "Go after Bitcoin," the US leader has said to the Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin. The Washington Examiner, which originally obtained this excerpt from the book, wrote that Bolton dated the quote to a conversation in May 2018, a year prior to President Trump's Bitcoin tweets and when the cryptocurrency bubble was still unraveling. Bolton wrote that the comment was made in the context of a conversation with Secretary Mnuchin on trade sanctions and tariffs against China. Does this mean that regulation is coming? Well, while President Trump apparently made this comment in May 2018, only recently has Washington begun to take steps to better regulate this industry. And if you just scroll out, let's just take a look at where he supposedly said this about Bitcoin. May 2018, back there. So right after the big Bitcoin bubble. And of course, we can take a look at also July 2019. That was right here, right after the second bubble here. So it seems like Trump pays attention to Bitcoin whenever it has been going up very quickly, just like here also he made a tweet right there. And starting in 2019, Secretary Mnuchin made multiple mainstream appearances touting Trump's sentiment about cryptocurrencies. Days after Trump's Bitcoin tweet, the Treasury Secretary said to CNBC, we're looking at all of the crypto assets. We're going to make sure we have an unified approach. And my guess is that there are going to be more regulations that come out of all these agencies. So is this good or bad for Bitcoin? Well, it's not good for Bitcoin, but it's also not bad for Bitcoin because it doesn't matter what one country does in terms of regulation because it's only going to make people leave the country and go to other countries where they can deal with Bitcoin. So all crypto businesses, all Bitcoin businesses, they will just leave to a place where it's crypto friendly. But on an individual basis, it can of course make the progress slower for mass adoption because, well, if Trump tells you not to use Bitcoin and basically regulates you out of Bitcoin, maybe you will get fined for using Bitcoin, then maybe you will think twice next time you use Bitcoin, and maybe not everyone can just leave their country just for that reason. So countries can slow the process of mainstream adoption for Bitcoin, that's for sure, but they cannot stop Bitcoin. It's just not possible. It's like trying to shut down the internet. Sure, you can make it very hard for people to access the internet in local areas, but people will always find a way to access the internet. So what does he really mean with go after Bitcoin? Well, I would probably assume that there is regulation involved here. He really wants to regulate Bitcoin, or maybe he means go after people who uses Bitcoin. Maybe he means go after criminals that use Bitcoin, because he did say in this tweet back here that unregulated crypto assets can facilitate unlawful behavior, including drug trade and other illegal activity. So it is possible that he wants to go after criminals. However, I think it's also very, very possible that Trump and other governments want to stop Bitcoin because Bitcoin is threatening the US dollar and Bitcoin is threatening the whole monetary system. And remember that the US actually has a lot of power in the world through the US dollar, because the US dollar is the world reserve currency, and that gives the US this empire status where they basically control a huge part of the world through the economy via the US dollar. And of course, the US doesn't want to just give that away. And they see Bitcoin as a threat to the power. And that's why I think that Trump says go after Bitcoin. But guys, please leave your comments down below. What do you think that he means by go after Bitcoin? Does this mean that the Bitcoin price is going to dump now? Well, this is not something that I would bet on myself. But every now and then we see news stories come out, and it seems like people do trade based on these kind of news. For example, remember when people thought that Satoshi Nakamoto had sent Bitcoin through his wallet. People thought he was going to dump his million Bitcoin. Well, we did see a quite substantial sell-off due to that news. And of course, you can always argue if it was because of the news or because of something else. But Bitcoin did dump right after that news, and we've seen that many times before. So this is a possibility, but personally, I don't trade based on news stories. I only trade based on technical analysis. If Bitcoin breaks this support line here, then basically that's a trade. If Bitcoin breaks this resistance here, that's a trade. But please leave your comments down below about that also. Do you think this can affect the Bitcoin price? And guys, thank you so much for liking my videos. I truly appreciate it. Whenever you click this like button, you help my videos gain more momentum. So I am super, super grateful. All right, let's now take a look at the Bitcoin price. Bitcoin is still in this ascending triangle. I've been talking about it for quite some time now. We have a bullish bias, of course, because this is a bullish pattern. But all bullish patterns, they can actually break down. They break down every now and then. And of course, I think this should have approximately a 30% chance to break down, 70% to break up. And let's actually talk about this bullish pennant that we saw forming yesterday. We did see Bitcoin go up rapidly, form this pennant. And let me actually go into the 1 hour to make this even more visible. Here you can see. So what I talked about yesterday was that a breakout is imminent because we're seeing this pennant form. And what I said in yesterday's video was that a breakout is coming basically yesterday. And this is exactly what happened. Bitcoin broke out and actually came down from this support line all the way down to this point. So a 2.2% breakout. And yeah, so some people might wonder how was I able to call this, and it's simply technical analysis, bouncing between support and resistance, and eventually it just has to break. Whether it's up or down, that remains to be decided by Bitcoin itself, but you know that a volatile move is coming, and that's exactly what happened here. Of course, a bullish pennant has a slight bias toward the upside. It should be approximately 70% up, 30% down, and of course 3 times out of 10 we will break down, and that's exactly what happened here. And you can see how Bitcoin came down and tested this support line just like we did back there, and this goes way back to right there and right there. So it's not very surprising that Bitcoin got supported by this level. And personally, I don't like to trade bullish patterns when they break to the downside. I generally try to trade them when they break to the upside. And you can see here how we did see a fake out. Bitcoin shot all the way up to 9.565 and then came straight back in again. And actually, these circumstances are very, very tradable. When you see the price do something like this, basically get heavily rejected by the bears, this also works on the opposite side. This is usually a great sell sign when you see rejection like this, and this time this sell signal worked out very well as Bitcoin actually plunged straight down after that happened. Of course, these fake outs are very, very nasty, and if you don't use stop losses, then these fake outs can really hurt your trading. So if you actually buy a fake out and you go up like this, make sure to be quick and put in a stop loss in profit. So if the Bitcoin price actually does break down again, and it was just a fake out, then you will at least be stopped out at a slight profit or break even, and then you can even turn it into a short instead, because the bullish signal turned into a bearish signal, just like we saw it right there. And I want to show you something else. If we roll out the RSI here, we can see how Bitcoin is currently in this descending RSI channel, and usually when we see these channels form, eventually they break to the upside, and when they do break to the upside, usually that leads to a big bull run on the given time frame. This is the 1 hour time frame, so it's not going to be a big bull run, but a short-term upswing. And before I started recording this video, I found a couple of examples. Here you can see a downtrend. We broke out right there. You can see Bitcoin got a small little bull run there. Same goes here, a small descending channel, broke out right there, and then Bitcoin went on a small bull run. And you can go on and on back here. You can see that whenever we see these RSI channels to the downside, when they do break out here, usually it gives us a nice tradable bull run on the given time frames. So this means that if we do see this RSI channel break to the upside, you can definitely make the case that Bitcoin is going to go bullish in the next few weeks here. And like I've said before, I think that a nice target should be the $10,000 level, as we've seen so much resistance from it before. So 10,000 would be the bullish target if we do see a bullish scenario play out. But of course, if Bitcoin breaks down below this yellow support line, then the bearish scenario would be playing out here. And before I leave, I just want to show you that the sender of this 5 million Ethereum transaction fee has been revealed. So it was a little known South Korean peer-to-peer crypto exchange, Good Cycle, and they say they are behind last week's high fee Ethereum transactions. So if you might remember, someone sent $100 worth of Ethereum and paid millions of dollars worth of fees. PickShield, which is a blockchain analytics firm, they say that Good Cycle appears to be a Ponzi project and could be easily hacked because of its security flaws. So someone hacked the exchange and wasn't able to withdraw the funds because they had whitelisted a few addresses, so the hackers were not able to steal anything. So instead of stealing crypto, they threatened the crypto exchange with sending big transactions, or small transactions rather, with huge transaction fees, and basically burn the money. And that is allegedly what happened, and now it seems like this exchange is trying to contact the mining pools that received these millions of dollars worth of transaction fees, and will be trying to get back the money. And I will update you guys if these mining pools eventually do decide to give back this $5 million worth of Ethereum to this South Korean exchange. That's it for this video. Please go down below this video, leave a thumbs up. Let's see if we can smash the likes up to 3,000. That would be amazing. Thank you for watching. If you haven't seen this video, click right there right now, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.